my name's Shell. Welcome to week 4 this year of my weight loss journey using the Weight Watchers 2025 plan. I hope everybody's doing okay. It's very cold here still. I wish it would warm up a bit. Seems to have been cold a long time this winter. Going back to November, it seems to have been cold all this time, so I'm hoping it'll get better soon because it's not very inviting to want to go out for walks and different things in this weather. And we had terrible wind over the weekend, and now we're forecast floods. It just seems to come one thing after the other. You seem to get over one alert and another one turns up. Anyway, I hope you've had a good week. I have had a great week this week. I've tried some different foods this week. We went to Iceland to do our online shopping. I haven't been to Iceland for 5 years. Just before lockdown, I used to go regularly. We had an Iceland in the town, and at that time I was going to the gym, and so on my way home from the gym I'd pop into Iceland and do some shopping. And it was great because you could do your shopping and then they would deliver it to your home. You didn't have to carry it. But after COVID, they built one of these big warehouses. Is it Iceland warehouses they call them? I'm not sure. Food something warehouse. Anyway, they built one of those over on the industrial estate, on the trading estate. And because of that, they closed Little Iceland down in town, which I was really sad about because I can't really get to this big outlet place. And so that means I don't shop at Iceland anymore. So it wasn't easy to do it online either because the website wasn't very friendly to screen readers. So for years I didn't go to Iceland. But I thought I'd give it a go because I quite fancied trying some of the Slimming World meals people have been telling me about, so I decided to try, and it was really easy. The site was easy to manage, it was easy to find what I wanted, it was easy to check out, and best of all, the shopping came on the same day. I think I finished doing the shopping at 11 o'clock, and by 1:30 in the afternoon the shopping was here, which is brilliant service. And everything was included as well, there was nothing missing out of the shopping. So 5 stars to Iceland for the service. Then the meals that I tried were the Slimming World black bean, I can't remember what it was, black bean and rice anyway. And it was very nice. We had that on the night that the shopping came. And then last night I had the sweet potato and something curry. The vegan, they're the 2 vegan meals. They had another couple of vegan meals, but they were the 2 that I decided to try. And they were really nice, they were tasty. They weren't big enough for what I eat, is the only thing I'll say. They would have been big enough for a dinner time meal, but as a nighttime meal they were nowhere near big enough for what I wanted, so I did add to mine. I had, I think I had a piece of bread with the first one with the black bean and rice, and then last night I filled a tub because the tubs are about halfway full, I think, so that you can put them in the microwave. I filled mine to the top with corn pieces and garden peas. I filled it right to the top, and then it was filling enough for me. I need a lot of food. So that's what I had last night. They were really nice. I couldn't find how many points there were on the app. I think because these meals are new out and I'm not up to putting all the different ingredients in and finding points that way. So I just guessed, and I made a guess at 6 points. Although I see some previous Slimming World meals were 0 points. There was a chickpea and cauliflower dal there that was 0 points on Weight Watchers. So these could have been 0 points, it could have been more, but I think 6 would be a good guess that would not get me in any trouble, so that's what I guessed at. And I also guessed at this, I've actually got the empty tin here, this is the Frey Bentos lentil soup, which is also in Iceland, and this was lovely, a really, really good soup. I can highly recommend this. I mean, I've got a lot of respect for a soup. When you turn it out of the can, it still stands up in the tin shape in the bowl. It doesn't, it's so thick, it's not a liquid. I shook it out of the tin and it just came out in one go and it stood there in its tin shape, and that is the kind of soup I like. Again, I had to guess at the points because it wasn't on the app, and I guessed at 4 points because generally nearly all the other Soups that were lentil were about 4 points a tin. And that one didn't taste like it had any extra fat in it than others, so I just guessed at 4 points, and I think with all the guesses I'm round about where I should be. We also tried Slimming World chips, which were free on Weight Watchers, and they were really nice. I'll get those again, definitely. They weren't, I mean, the sort of chips I like are those ones that are not really like chips anymore. They've probably been all mashed and reconstituted, and they've got a coating on and all this. And they're about 400 or 500 calories a portion. They're the ones I like. So they were a long way from that. And also, I do like my own chips, but when you make your own chips, your Slimming World chips, by the time you've peeled, boiled, sliced, air fried, everything, you're looking at, well, for me, I don't know about you, but for me, I'm looking at over an hour. So they are nice to have, they're my favourites, but it's the effort and the time to put into do it. If you just want to dump something in the air fryer, these Slimming World chips are lovely. And they taste like real potatoes as well. They really are just, I think they must be just potatoes. I've also bought Slimming World roast potatoes, which are free again on Weight Watchers. I haven't tried those yet. I'm going to try those this weekend. But that's great to be able to just shake a load of roast potatoes out, and it's a really big bag as well. I'm sure it'll do us quite a few meals. Really looking forward to those. I've never had frozen roast potatoes before. And what else did we try? Andy tried the Greg's vegan steak bakes. I didn't try them because I was trying to just curb my calories a bit this week. Although when I looked at it, there were only 14 points. And I was thinking, really, if you were to have 14 points as a Greg's steak bake, and you were to have the free chips, and you were to have garden peas, I mean, that's a really good meal just for 14 points. You could do that in a day easily. I didn't really think of it at the time. I just thought, well, I'm not spending 14 points on one thing. But that is doable, and I may do that in the future. I did buy him as well some Greg's sausage rolls, which he hasn't tried yet. And there were two other pasty things that I got. I think one was a curried veg and one was a veg. But I think I'm going to try and stay away from those sorts of things at the minute because I'm trying to put my points into more filling foods. But I'm not saying I won't try them in the future, but at the minute it's not the kind of thing that I'm eating. But this Greg's steak bake did look very nice though, and Andy said it was full of gravy and really nice. And the last thing that we got was, oh no, it wasn't last thing. We bought some frozen mushy peas that were in pots already cooked. Well, they were supposed to be cooked, but they weren't. I'm not sure what make they were. They could have been Bachelors or Harry Ramsden's, one of the big makes. There were two small pots of cooked mushy peas in a tub in the freezer. And they were really, I didn't like them at all. They weren't cooked, they had crunchy bits in. I mean, mushy peas should not have crunchy bits in. So I recommend staying away from those. We didn't like them at all. And the last thing, this is the last thing now, I bought some Slimming World sweet and sour sauce. It's a tub and it was frozen. I haven't tried it yet. I think I'll try that possibly tomorrow night. There's enough in there for 2 people and it was 6 points. It did have that on the app, 6 points for Weight Watchers. I'll let you know what that's like next week. It does look nice, and I love sweet and sour sauce, so that's for next week as well. They had some lovely things in Iceland. There were lots of other things that I left behind, things that I didn't try, and I will go back there again. They didn't have some of the other things that I wanted though. That's the only problem. They didn't have the wines that we want. They didn't have the biscuits that we wanted. There was a lot of things, just ordinary things that you can buy at a lot of other supermarkets that they didn't have. So I think it's going to be the kind of supermarket that I go back to specifically for these things, and not possibly for a general shop. Although the veg was very nice. Lovely fresh vegetables. They looked really, everything was really fresh, and it was cheap as well. So there's a lot going for it in Iceland. I have to recommend it. As far as treats go this week, I haven't really been having a lot of nighttime treats. There were quite a few nights where I just had a cup of tea. Actually, I didn't have any treats, and that's because I'd spent points on the day on bread or other bits and pieces that I wanted to have with meals. I had a few extra points in meals as well, so There were quite a few nights where I just had a cup of tea, and I really enjoyed it too. But when I did have a treat, I had these 2 nights. I'll hold it up so you can see it. I'll twist it around because it's upside down. I've never seen these in the shops, although you might be in the shops. I got them from Amazon, and they're called Gut Stuff. They do about 5 different flavours. They do chocolate and hazelnut. They do a raspberry and almond, I think. They do apple and cinnamon, peanut butter. I'm sure there's another one that I've forgotten. They're very much like raw bars, or is it nacked bars you call them? Naked bars, nacked bars, like those fruit and nut nacked bars. They're very much like that, but they've got sort of bigger bits of nuts in. They are, well, the peanut one, which is my favourite, is 3 points on Weight Watchers, but most of them are either 3 or 4 points. I think the apple cinnamon was 4 points. And they really are nice, except that Andy stopped eating them because he said they gave him a bit of an upset tummy, and they're not the kind of thing you want to eat if you're going out on a date, because even I'm used to a lot of fibre in food, and even I woke myself up farting through the night. They are extra fibre because they're good for your gut, so they have got extra fibre things in them. They taste really healthy, and they do fill you up. They're not the sort of thing you eat and you want more of. They are very filling. They are about the size of nack bars. I'll put a link to the Amazon page where you can have a look. They're lovely, and for 3 points they're a nice snack, but they do give you wind. So that was that. Other than that, I've been eating usual meals, still the oats and fruit for breakfast, which is going to go on for a while. I'm still having the Warburton's pita bread stuffed with all kinds of free food at dinner time. I find that really filling and satisfying. It'll be a long time before I move away from that as well. I told you about some of the meals I had. I also made in the Instant Pot a big vegetable and bean stew, which we ate for a few days. That was lovely and tasty, and we had bread with that. It was a free stew. There was nothing in it that had any points in. So I often use some points on a nice big piece of bread to go with it. I think that's about all. I've been doing exercises. I do pretty much an hour on the treadmill every day, and then some stretching. And at night time, when we're sitting watching a programme, because we always watch a programme before bed, I used to be doing crafts at that time of night, but because of the arthritis in my hands, I've had to stop doing that for a while. So what I have been doing is I've had my exercise bands out and my yoga, I think they call it a yoga ring. It's like a solid ring with handles on it you can push and pull. So whilst I've been sitting there for an hour at night, drinking my cup of tea, I've been doing exercises with these bands, and with nothing too strenuous, I haven't been going overboard, but just as I'm sitting there, I've been doing exercises, just stretching and tugging and all that kind of stuff. And I think it all helps, it all makes a difference, and plus it keeps me awake, because if I'm just sitting doing nothing, I tend to just drift off. So that's been a useful thing. Right, so last week, wake the scales up before I talk to you. Wake up scales. Yeah. Last week I weighed 10 stone 9 pounds, so I'm hoping to be a bit less than that this week. Colour scales.
10 stone 8 pound.
10 stone 8 pound. Okay, so it's another pound down. And I'm very pleased with that. I would be happy with half a pound. I'd be happy staying the same now, because Saturday, I think, is it Saturday that will be the 1st? And that'll be my end of the month review, and that's the thing I'm focusing on now. I'm trying not to focus too much on the week to week weight loss, so if I do put some weight on, take some weight off another week, it's the end of the month that I'm focused on, and I want to lose 2.5 pounds by the end of each month. And as long as I do that, I'm not quite so bothered what happens week to week. If I put 2 pounds on, take 3 off, whatever, it's that end of the month thing that matters. I'll be getting on my other scales, which are the Bluetooth scales. Those scales I measured on the 1st of January, and they've got all my stats in there, from visceral fat to how old the scales thinks that I am. It's got my BMI, it's got all sorts of other health indicators. So I'm going to go through that next week with you and show you how I've done over the month. And that is the real thing that I'm interested in. It's the thing that I'm bothered about most. So fingers crossed for that. I'll let you know how that goes. Until then, I hope you have a wonderful week. Keep going with all your wonderful weight losses, and thanks for all your messages of encouragement. I do read them and they really do help to keep me on track. And I'll be watching your videos. If you're doing videos, I will be watching and keeping up with how you're getting on. And if I'm not following you and you're doing a video, drop me a comment and I'd like to subscribe and see how you're doing. So take care, keep warm. I hope you see less of me next week. Bye then. Bye.